What's up, Chans and fans, weebos and bakas? It's Zuri-chan. Today we're going to be reacting to another snarled video. Now, today's snarled video is called My Lucky Boy. Now, let's get right into the video.
My Lucky Boy.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
The following is based on a story submitted by Jason, told from the point of view of his mother. I always thought my son Jason was lucky. You know, he actually wasn't breathing when I gave birth to him, but after being what the doctor claimed legally dead for almost 5 minutes, he made a miraculous recovery. And ever since then, he's narrowly escaped death countless times. When he was still pretty little, he would choke on his food fairly easily, so I'd always have to watch him closely. There were times when he'd slip out from his high chair despite being securely strapped in. And all those times I was right there to break his fall. I used to joke that Jason had a death wish. I began to really worry about him when he turned about 5. One night, he came running into my room, crying hysterically. "The lady is trying to get me!" "Oh, JC, it's okay. You were probably just having a bad dream, that's all." And it went on like this for the rest of the week. He refused to sleep alone in his room. Eventually, he also became afraid during the day. I would catch him muttering to himself. "Who are you talking to, JC?" "The lady. She won't leave me alone." Having nightmares was pretty common for a kid his age, and so was having imaginary friends. But I was starting to really worry about his mental health. He was losing sleep, he wouldn't eat. I could just feel him slowly falling apart. So I took him to a child psychiatrist. I watched from afar as Jason told the doctor about the woman who was tormenting him day and night. The doctor handed him some crayons and paper and told him to draw what the woman looked like. When Jason was done, he handed the paper to the doctor, who was visibly startled. He gestured for me to come outside the room with him to talk. "I think there's a chance your child might be suffering from schizophrenia," he said. My heart dropped. "I'd like to do some more tests with him, if that's all right with you." "So you think everything he's been talking about is just a hallucination?" The doctor handed me the paper with Jason's drawing. I, too, was startled. My son had drawn what appeared to be a tall, thin woman with no eyes and blood dripping down from the top of her head. Her lips were completely torn off, exposing her rotting and chipped teeth. If this is who he saw every day, no wonder he was so horrified. Later that day, I called my sister. We didn't live in the same state, but we were really close and always kept in touch with each other. I was updating her on Jason, about his freaky drawing, and what the doctor said. My sister was quiet for a moment. "Sis, I know you don't really believe in this stuff," my sister said very carefully. "But how open are you to finding a more non-medical evaluation?" What the hell did that mean? She then proceeded to give me the phone number of a woman named Lana and told me to set an appointment with her as soon as possible. So that weekend, I brought Jason with me to see my sister's psychic. She was right. I didn't really believe in this sort of thing, but my sister offered to pay for the appointment, so I figured it wouldn't hurt just to see what this woman had to say. I was determined to get my son the help he needed. When we arrived at Lana's house, she greeted us at the door. She looked like she was in her 30s. Her suit was perfectly tailored to her body. Her black hair was flawlessly pulled back in a bun. She welcomed us into her home with a warm smile. I've never been to a psychic's house before, but Lana's place didn't look at all like what I was expecting it to look like. It was kind of normal. Very chic, actually. No crystal balls or animal parts in jars. Just clean, modern decor. She motioned for us to join her in the spotless living room. "You have a very lovely home," I blurted out. "Oh, thank you so much. There's just so much noise in my head that it helps to have a living space that doesn't add to the chaos." Lana looked into Jason's eyes. "And you must be Jason." She continued to stare deeply and curiously into his eyes, and the longer she stared, the more faded her smile became. Have you ever had a near-death experience, Jason? He shook his head, but I interjected. Funny you ask that. He's actually had several, from the moment he was born. What can I say? He's a lucky boy. But Lana's face made it clear that she did not agree with that statement. I usually try to break information delicately for my clients, but I think I need to be frank with you. When Jason died that first time, his soul was in another dimension, and while he was there, a woman found him and decided that she wanted him to be her son. Then, when Jason was resuscitated, she was left alone, and she's been trying to reunite with him ever since. This was not in any way what I had expected to hear. My sister had once told me the theory that when people have a near-death experience, they gain contact with the spirit world. But I didn't think that was true. Okay, so how do we get rid of her? How do we stop her from terrorizing my son? Lana shrugged. You already know what she wants. We left shortly after that. I texted my sister that she wasted her money on a fraud. I decided that we were going to continue the evaluation with the child psychiatrist and go about this the right way. Later that night, Jason asked to sleep in the bed with me, like usual. But in the middle of the night, I woke up to a tapping on my shoulder. Jason was standing by the bed, looking down on me. His face was incredibly calm. JC, is everything okay? I just wanted to say goodbye, Mommy. Goodbye? Where are you going? With new Mommy. He gestured behind him, and for the first time, I saw her. The woman in his drawing. Don't worry, Mommy.
Ew.
I'm not scared anymore. The woman held out her hand, and Jason walked over to her. I lunged out of bed and tried to grab him, but just as I reached him, he was gone. Just like that. I was a wreck. But after the reality of what had just happened sank in, I oddly felt relieved to know that he was no longer scared or suffering. I just wish I could have saved him. Just one more time.
And that was it. Thanks for watching the video, and bye, Chan fans.